everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. This is episode 20 on June 22nd. I have our guest today is BlueCanaries. Please do make sure to give her a follow on X if you want to see some really cool research and a lot of investigations she does. She's one of the best on the platform. Do make sure you follow her um, at Canaries, Canaries Blue. That's at Canaries Blue on X. And be sure you sub to the channel here. Like, comment, share. Would really appreciate it. Let's try to get this particular episode out there for more people to see. And today I have Blue here today to really talk about a subject I'm not very familiar with. I've kind of hopped in and out of various spaces and discussions where Blue's been in on the topic of metabiota. And I thought it'd be pretty interesting with her vast amount of research on the topic. If you can kind of just like walk us through how did you stumble upon, the metabiota scandal. If you could take us to like the origins of it and like kind of where we are today with that, and then we can take the conversation from there.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me on. It is a subject that I do love to talk about because I saw Nathan Wolf doing rounds on, the early TV shows and around the COVID time. So he was on, it was early 2020. And I started something just didn't strike me right about him. And so I started looking at his TED Talks, and I realized that everything that he was talking about, he kept pointing back to his book, The Viral Storm. So I got the book, and I was just stunned. And that, there was just really so many admissions into the book. Nathan Wolf is most known for Metabiota, but in his book, he's writing from the perspective of his nonprofit, which is Global Viral. Like he's out here trying to save the world. Like it's almost like a non-fictional superhero. He's the virus hunter. He's proud of that name. Like he's a monkey bat virus hunter. And so what he did was he was contracted with the government in 2009, the beginning of the PREDICT program, to help predict, basically help with a pandemic surveillance program. So they were going to surveil. The PREDICT program included two parts, which the first part was the Ebola outbreak. And then the second part was bat coronaviruses. So this was a USAID funded project. And the two main characters EcoHealth Alliance and Metabiota. And everybody knows, Peter Daszak's name. Everybody knows EcoHealth Alliance. Everybody knows the lab side. They're the ones that took what Nathan Wolf found in the jungles and the all over the world, actually. He's the one that went to go look for the viruses. So he's out here finding all these species with unknown pathogens. I'm not sure whether it was like really viruses or something. These species can live with these viruses, just like the rhesus green monkey. They can live with the simian virus, but humans can't. So they're extracting these pathogens in foreign species and introducing it into humans. And that's it in a nutshell. That's what the term that they use,
is that the gain of function?
Gain of function, yes. That's what they're doing, is taking species and mixing them.
That's crazy. So
through the vaccines. So so Metabiota is was a huge thing. So when I wrote that, I wanted to show the other side of the story, what kind of happened, because Metabiota actually was also selling pandemic insurance prior to the pandemic, which, and then we had some investors that, how did Hunter Biden know to invest in Metabiota? It's the same kind of thing that we still see today, like the insider knowledge, and then, the offspring and family members of, of Congress and people in the administration, you know, they already have pre-knowledge that we're going to, have a pandemic, and they want to make money off of it. The same thing with a war. You could do it, and that's the problem I see, is that this is a government program.
It's kind of like, wasn't you might know more about that. I remember it was like didn't Bill Gates and like some other people like war game like a they did like a simulated pandemic on the spread, like right before the pandemic as we know it like kicked off. Didn't they do that like in the summer leading up to the start of the pandemic?
They did have, I don't remember the exact date of Event 201,
Event
but
201.
but it was the year prior to the pandemic.
Oh, it was
And
19. Okay.
yeah, it was the year prior. And yeah, we saw all kinds of anomalies that year. People don't understand. They've literally removed the comments that they wrote about vape lung that were wrong. I mean, just erroneous. Like, the people in the study didn't even use vapes. So all of these things that were like leading up to the actual pandemic were just like things to throw people off. Like, if you look at the X-rays of the people that they were claiming had vape lung in 2019, and you compare them with somebody that has COVID, that's what it is. They match.
Interesting. Like, is that like the whole popcorn lung thing that they talk about with like
Right,
vape
right. The
users?
glass, yeah, the silica, whatever they say that they keep calling it like glass, like images. And I read through the study early on, and I was like, there's nobody here. Like, there's not a person that vapes. And they called it vape lung, and they affected legislation all over our country. The governor of Texas raised the age for vapes to the age of 21 based on the original study from the erroneous study of vape lung.
That's insane. So like,
Yeah.
so like when we talk about Metabiota, this is a company, right? Like, or is this like a nonprofit? I'm sorry, I really don't know much, so I'm just asking. Like, what is Metabiota?
Okay, Metabiota is a pandemic surveillance, or that's what they were selling to the U.S. was that they were going to surveil the pandemics. I mean, it was so if you look at what the PREDICT program. Let me find that real quick. I don't have that one page. It's crazy. I keep all my little maps on my notes because I don't save a lot of this stuff.
No, it's okay.
But the PREDICT.
Oh, I lost you. Looks like I lost you, Blue. Are you there? All right, let's see something here.
Oh, sorry. I knew I was not supposed to do that. I tested that before, and I was like, I can't hit any other links. So yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. So let me just remove your other one. Hopefully this doesn't damage anything. Let's see. Oh, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay, I think we're okay. We're gonna just keep on rolling here.
Okay.
Okay. You're starting to go into like, what is Metabiota?
Right. Okay. Okay, so the PREDICT program was actually a pandemic surveillance program. So the goal was and this was from USAID funded, and they gave it to the contracts to certain companies. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting, because you were talking about the nonprofit. Nathan Wolf owns Global Viral Forecasting. So there's two different names he has on that nonprofit, and then it later changed again. This is how they work. On the profit side, where people were investing in it, it was Metabiota. He never even mentions the word Metabiota in his book. And the companies were actually the paperwork on both companies within months of each other. So what he was doing was he was getting government contracts for both on the same projects. Yeah.
And so
So
on the when like I remember like when the whole thing was happening, right? Like everyone was obsessed with going on that um Johns Hopkins tracker, right? Where it was like tracking all the live, positives, and like it was like this, like that old Dustin Hoffman movie, like Outbreak, where it was just like this like fear mongering website, and like you see the numbers going up. Did that tracker that I think a lot of people were like glued to for at least the first couple months, does that have anything to do with any funding that came from
yeah,
Metabiota?
that's
Okay.
exactly what it was
Okay.
and actually actually Google was a big part of funding this too, because he used Google Analytics to gather the data. So when you go on to Google and you're like, "Hey, I've got these symptoms," symptom trackers are tracking you. And so they were able to compile and see, they used the data initially from the Ebola crisis that they created, because Nathan Wolf was there at the site of the Ebola breakout a couple of years. He was right there in the area studying it. And the interesting thing that a lot of people don't know is that the Ebola virus that was leaked at that place wasn't even from that region.
Interesting. Was this during the time that Obama was president? I think I was young. I was younger.
Yeah, it
Is
was
that
I believe it was 2014. Um
Yeah, I remember, and they're like fear like, oh, there's 3 cases in
yeah,
America now, and
it was 2014. So that's what they were doing, was they were tracking it then too. And so they had to get it right because they knew the next one was coming. And that is actually what Nathan Wolf even says. This is just such a great couple. So there's Nathan Wolf and his wife, and she's a playwright in LA, okay? And during the COVID lockdown, she does a playwright on her husband, Nathan, called The Catastrophist. And it's like a one man show. And they actually have an actor come in and play him, but she like gathers like all his thoughts from like the past few months in this play. And he talks about how he talks about how angry he was because the news said that he completely fumbled the Ebola crisis or whatever, and he was real angry. And he goes, "If they only knew this wasn't the end of it. This is just this. The next one's going to be far worse." Like he knew what he did.
right, like it was like a beta test for them.
Yeah, it was a beta test. And so when you see it, the whole thing, in the big picture, Metabiota is one side, you got EcoHealth on the other side, and then you have a lot of little other players there. And a lot of people knew to invest in these. A lot of people knew that these things were going to create a pandemic that's released worldwide, and they were using that to track it.
And like obviously, like all the pharmaceutical companies were in on this too, right? Because the speed in which they had the solution, I'll just say for the sake of YouTube, but like the speed in which that they provided solutions, right? Um, that can't be coincidence. So like
Right, right.
they
No,
were
none
they
of
were
it.
obviously in the know as well, right? Or from your research, did
Right,
you? Okay,
right. They had the what I consider a bioweapon ready to go because it was a vaccine. But they also, at the same time, the way that they were trying to okay, so you think about it. If you've created a virus in a lab and you've made it a monkey bat virus, right? Okay, and then they take it and they're like, okay, you know what? This time we're going to add a little bit of feline something. All right. And then, so like when they take that and they use that in the vaccines. So when you're doing that, you're creating new things for new. That's why oh, you got to get immune to this new thing, immune to this new thing, because they keep adding things to them, and the things that they're adding aren't. They really shouldn't be added to humans at all.
Yeah, it's insane. That's like the whole mRNA side of it, right? Like these are mRNA therapies. These are not like a dead or weakened form of like a virus in which you're injecting into the human for the immune system to fight it off and basically build immunity, like immunity to it, right? With what they put out, is, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm going too far with the tinfoil hat thing here, but like, was it rewriting people's DNA? Like what was the
Well, that's what I think. It does do that, and then it also, creates vulnerabilities in the main working of the main system. Because if your health's not good, or if you're suffering this way or another, and then let's just say we have a high dose of some kind of radio frequency that hits an area, it's going to affect probably those people more than it will the rest of us, that maybe haven't had high doses of vaccines through our lifetime. But it's all there's no other way to put it nicely. But this is what it really feels. It's completely intentional that our government wants to kill us.
You don't need to convince me of that. I for one, I don't trust anything anymore. With the past, in 2024, I kind of was still fairly naive. Like obviously, I've researched a lot, and I've always had my suspicions. I never trusted government per se, but I thought that in 24 was like existential. With RFK, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's actually going to go, and Maha was a real thing, and then it got like weird with those, like that brother and sister that went on Tucker. I'm like, who are these people? And then all of a sudden all this weird stuff started happening, and they basically backtracked on everything that they promised, like glyphosate. They were trying to give them immunity, like like the Bayer Monsanto, right? Like it's unbelievable. Like, so when people think they're intentionally poisoning us, I mean, how could you not believe that is possible at least, right? Given that we were promised certain things to improve American health, and the absolute opposite's been happening. They're culling off all the, the livestock through the pandemic, massive numbers of cattle, chicken, right? And people don't really even realize like the I hate to say it this way, but like the growing period for cattle, like, so when you cull a segment of that population, like you're going to have, as we've seen, like you see how expensive steaks are right now, right? I mean, it's
Yes,
just, to me,
definitely.
the fix is in, like, it's always a con
It's
against.
like it's like the screw worm that's happening in Texas now. Like they've for like the last couple years they've tried something new. They have been literally adding more flies. Same kind of junk stupid science as the mosquitoes that are, oh, we're gonna release a whole bunch of, they're infertile, though they're sterile, into the, we're talking millions, billions of flies we're going to release, and this is going to cure it because they're all going to, by process of elimination we're going to remove them. They're getting worse. They're getting worse. The flies are getting worse. The mosquitoes are getting worse. It's because they're using them for something else. They're just lying to us. Bill Gates has said it over and over that the best type of vector to give a vaccine would be like through the insects.
Yeah,
So when he says stupid, or insane stuff like that, or crazy, I don't know what you want to call it, but I listen because
it's mad scientist stuff. Like this, he talks about like using mosquitoes, right? Like genetically modified mosquitoes to be able to. I think he said that in the past. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he stated that.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And remember, we had, the mosquitoes released during COVID. They released the first set of, I think it was about the time of Omicron, huh?
Interesting.
And I really wonder if it was the measles. I'm just saying, or something other than what they said. And see, this is the crazy thing because, I do a lot of research and I do look at all these things. And when you're looking at what they're trying to sell the world, all viruses are bad, all this stuff. No, well, if you go to the ocean, there's these things that the bacteria eat called bacteriophages. Bacteriophages are actually viruses. They meet the whole definition of a virus, but they're good. It's what keeps our oceans in balance, is that we have good of both. But we don't hear about that. Sometimes you'll hear, oh, we got good bacteria and bad bacteria. They finally started talking about that, but they don't talk about all these other things. And if we just leave it alone and don't introduce new species into us, trying to think that we're going to help ourselves by introducing monkey kidney cells, the kidney cells from green monkeys in a specific part of the world, introducing that to me, I don't want to take that chance, and I don't think they're being honest with us of what we're doing, what they're doing to us.
No, I agree. And quite, if we could pivot a little bit, we're talking about, basically the great con game, of how they use the Hegelian dialectic on us, right? They create a situation, they provide the solution, et cetera, et cetera. What are your thoughts on what I feel like they've had a couple like attempts at trying to bring the next, next pandemic. They started with, if you remember, was like the beginning of the year, or maybe it was into March, the whole white lung thing, and that didn't take off. And now it seems like they're pushing like Ebola again. Have you looked into that at all?
Um, I'm always picking up on all these little things that they try. Um, One thing about Ebola that I want to remind everybody, like, because this is important, what you know about the Ebola outbreak and how it started with an 18-month-old child going into the jungle. And this is like the official story, I think, all the way up, like through the UN, that a child 18 months old was patient zero, whatever, went into the jungle and ate bushmeat. Well, there was a reporter that went in after and talked to the dad, and he said that was absurd because she couldn't hardly even walk. And if you think about it, it makes no freaking sense what they told us. And what
Wait,
happened was they were sharing needles. They were trying to pass this virus around because they were trying to track it. They wanted to see what they needed to do to like, okay, how much of a threat does the public feel right now? How comfort are they? How comfortable are they? So we're going to push this to France now. Okay, let's see. And they're tracking it the whole time. Like, okay, the people in France are kind of scared. So this is what they're doing, is they're manipulating, everything, and including medicine and science, for a long time now. And I'm grateful that a lot of people are waking up to this. I think there's a lot of it's just unnecessary things that we just have been told we need to live with, but we really don't.
yeah, I agree. And
Did
so, but
I?
like, is that where it's at right now? Like with it, like I haven't been really keeping up with like the push on Ebola as much as I probably should. But has it entered the U.S.? Are they starting local, like local fear mongering on this, or is it still kind
Okay,
of like,
well, all right. So the two guys, just remember this: the two doctors that they brought back to the U.S., they were successfully treated like within 2 weeks here in the United States. When you're looking at the Ebola numbers and you're looking at the death rate of these viruses, you have to look at the environment. You're going to have a 75% kill rate of these viruses in places where there's no hospital. The reason why they survived is because they came to a sterile environment. Well, what we think in America is as sterile is a lot, even, much better than what you will get in the middle of the jungle. Um, so you just remember that when you're looking at the threats of Ebola, because it was treated here. The guys were okay 2 weeks later and went home to their families. Um, and, and the area where that virus got such the high rate. So, but can other things mimic those viruses? My big concern now, rather than some of these man-made viruses, which they have not seemed to be able to perfect, like the aerosol spraying, doing things like that, messing up their atmosphere, that's going to cause lung, issues. Everybody seems like at the same time, like I'll be listening to a space host over in California. Oh, I got a sore throat over here, bronchitis over here, and it just kind of travels right through the U.S. at the same time, and you can kind of see it, but I don't think that those are really successful ways. I think right now they're moving on to radio frequencies and other kinds of other weapons that they can use.
Usually, like you're talking about like 6G, like
Yeah,
the
I'm
coming of
thinking.
6G.
Yeah. I think they're doing more.
I mean, you're like, I don't think people really understand when they think of like your mobile phone. Like when you take like popcorn and you put it in your microwave, it's microwaves, and it's 5 gigahertz shortwave as well, which is, I mean, we don't even really know what it does to the human body. Besides, I think I saw something a couple weeks back that there was a tower that was near like an elementary school, and people were getting really sick when they flipped it on. It was over a period of a couple months, but like I believe cancers were involved, and I mean they're coming after us any way that they can, and they take advantage of people's naivete on these things, just like they fearmonger and put people in a state of perpetual fear, and then they propose, go to sleep, young one. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. Like, so it's like this whole like nanny state situation. I just really believe we were going to finally get away from this, but looks like they've doubled down since 24
I
on rolling it out.
They really have, but and you can. This is just one easy way to assess like um how things are going in your area, because I always open up my phone and I look at like Wi-Fi that's available. Like those things are able to hit my phone. When I drive down the road, new ones pop up. You want to get to the place or find places that have the least amount on there. And you want to go to those places and leave your car on the phone, and you want to go there often. You want to get away from these things. I speak in a lot of spaces about how important I think nature is. And I, I've always felt this way. I've always felt this way about children. I think they're deprived of nature. And I think that's a huge part of the problem with our society as a whole. I think that we've um, been wrong about not being able to take care of our nature. And the more people that get in and see this, this is where one thing that I think that we all can come together. That's not what you're doing on that land is now affecting our generation, and our kids, and the next generation, the next generation, the next generation. And now you're starting to see people really come together, especially like these surveillance centers, the data centers. And people are finally starting to see that and realize, oh, wait, why do y'all get to have all the oil? Why do y'all, why do y'all get to do all these? Why do you get to make all these decisions on our behalf? This is our land, and we can grow, and if you realize all the things that they've taken from us, it's time that we need to start like going, you know what? Yeah, if enough people check out of the system, then they're they don't have any money for any of the things that they want to do. So anyway,
No, yeah, no. I mean, like on the data center topic, like there was that small town in Michigan that they successfully banned the building of a data center, and then Scam Altman, he sued, and now they're building it. And then he did this whole like speech where he's like, "You might not see the good of this, but it's going to be great. It's going to create jobs. It's going to be." But like, why are we not talking about we're already at like we already have strained energy grids across the country. The capacity that's needed isn't there. Okay, cool. We talk about modular small nuclear reactors. Those are going to take what, 3, 5, 10 years to build. They're still scaling up on the data centers. The capacity is still limited. Then I think I heard something that Elon's even talking about taking it to space, right? Like building the data centers in space, because you have the vacuum of space, which is cold, so you don't have to worry about heat. But like they don't care. They don't care, and like if they don't care about the water, when they're cycling water through, they're poisoning water. They're I see nothing in here that's beneficial to humanity. Like there's nothing that what are we going to benefit from AI from? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I completely agree. And when you're looking at them, I had an experience. I was at Big Bend, 2025 January. In January, it's a perfect time to go if anybody wants to go. Big Bend National Park, right on the border of Mexico. It's fantastic, and it's the best time of year to go. Anyway, many people don't understand like why I was pushing so hard against. Well, number one, it's not. They don't need a border there. There's a mount. It's a mountainous range, and there's a whole ecosystem that relies on things from both sides of the border, both sides of the river there right now, right? But one thing that I noticed when I went out to Big Bend, there's areas you get absolutely zero connection. So I was out there 3 nights, 4 days with my daughter in a cabin with nothing, no electricity, nothing. There's nothing out there, you know? We had not a signal. Okay, so 4 days, okay, that fourth day, I should be freaking wiped out. I have fallen down the side of a mountain, rolled down all the way down this rocky mountain. I mean, it was like, there was another day I fell flat on my face. I was trying to take a photo, and I walked, and I tripped, and anyway, beaten, bruised. That fourth day I woke up, I was so high. I mean, this is what I remember, and I remembered it as a kid. I grew up in the time when we weren't connected. And that's what it felt like. Like it didn't matter how many times you fell down or whatever. You were just like so much energy. Like you can't even have an energy drink to wake up and make you feel that way. Like just ready to go as soon as we wake up in the morning. And I don't even have, my phone wasn't working, so I can't check my phone. That fourth day was so exciting for me. And then we start moving into the town, coming back into town, and it's like,
you feel it coming
you
back on.
feel it. And then I'm like thinking, oh, that's why they want a freaking border. They want to geofence us all in. Because notice the contract that they want now. Oh, it's going to be an invisible wall. Oh, yeah, I know. Y'all are going to, yeah. Because that's the one place I would know to go when I could absolutely 100% disconnect. And I don't even know that I could do that now anymore.
Yeah, they want to build a digital control grid. That's like what
right. And so, yeah. So I can't go out there and get lost. Like I don't want a tracker on me. I don't, I told my family, I don't care. Y'all go looking for me for weeks. I don't care at that point. If, but no, just to have that feeling like people don't understand what it's like just to go out on a walk without having a tracker on.
I know. I've gotten into a better habit of it with my wife. Like you feel like you need the phone because oh my gosh, an emergency, right? But recently when we go for like small hikes, we leave everything. We don't take anything with us besides like a bottle of water, or like a backpack if we need snacks because we're going, we're doing 5 miles plus, but it feels really nice when you get to a summit of whatever you're doing, like wherever you're hiking, and you just see the land, you see the horizon, and there is like literally this like mental reset that happens. It's just like a peace flush this rushes over you, and your mind becomes so incredibly quiet. And in that quiet, there's like this silent joy.
Right.
And it's beautiful, and the beauty of the world and the beauty of nature and experiencing it with loved ones or on your own in solitude too is also incredible, right? Just you and your mind and just in nature and the wind and the trees and listening to the leaves blowing in the wind, and maybe you see a little critter here and there and you're fascinated by seeing like a turkey run by. Like we don't have that anymore because we're inundated. We consent to it all. When we buy our phone, we consent to the eradication of our Fourth Amendment. Like you have no privacy, and anyone that believes that they do, they're lying to themselves. They're just now in the process of codifying it into law that you have no right to privacy. We've already given it away through terms of service agreements and, what have you. But the true freedom, I would have to agree with you, is like people need to get back and connect to nature. Everyone needs to do it. Like literally go touch grass.
Yeah, and that's what I'm, even people that, when my daughter, she's like, because she grew up, out in nature. She loves it. She can't get enough of it now. But I would tell her, okay, she's like, well, you tell me to go out in nature, and then you tell me not to bring my phone. I'm like, okay, well, just keep it on airplane mode. Keep it on airplane mode. Just do that. That eases my mind that you have a way to contact somebody, but turn the connection off until you need it. That's your choice. So, that's another thing is that, I just think that there's just so many neural pathways, and there's just so many things that are, people aren't getting when you're not connected in nature and different things. I think it's healing in so many ways. And that, I just encourage that. And when you get out there, it really feels like all of these world problems are really small.
No, I agree. I totally agree. And I think that's a good spot for us maybe to finish this part one, Blue, is all the negativity in the world. Like we talk about Metabiota, we talk about the great con on human civilization. They're constantly gaming us, putting us in simulations, testing us. But we do have answers, and we still have control of we still have relative autonomy of ourselves. And you need to be able to get away from the constant inundation of technology, Wi-Fi, X, YouTube. Like get away from it all. Go with, like you said, like you went with your daughter, go with like your dogs, go just get out into nature and disconnect, and you'll be all the better for it. You'll be stronger.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I really enjoyed doing this. I'm glad we ended on this note. It's been an amazing time getting to spend with you and talking tonight. So I just really appreciate that.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, and for those that are listening, I'm sorry that this one's a little shorter. I have had a rough weekend. I was dealing with a long tennis tournament, and Blue was kind enough to still hop on with me today, and I really appreciate your time, Blue. And just want to make sure everybody does follow you on X at Canaries. That's Canaries Blue, at Canaries Blue on X. Please be sure to follow me on X as well at MNBFY Pod. Do sub to this channel on the YouTube. Like, comment, share. Help us get this one out there. I'll be posting this on the Rumble. Today's the 22nd. This episode will post on Friday. So if anything's happened from today until Friday, just keep in mind we're a few days behind. But Blue, I appreciate it. I wish you well, and we'll do it. We'll plan on another one. I think we can come up with some pretty cool topics to talk about in the near future.
That sounds great. I would love to be on again. That's why I thought, like, okay, we could do part one, because I think I might enjoy this. But thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, Blue. Thanks, everybody. Hope you all do well. Enjoy your week, and catch you on the next one. Take care.